Hi, and welcome to another stunning episode of the Quantum Creativity Radio Show and TV. I'm your host, Santari Green, broadcasting to you from Burgess Hill in the UK with my co-host, Cezarina Trone, broadcasting with me from Cincinnati, Ohio. And welcome back, Cezarina.
Welcome back, Santari. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a good month, probably more than since we done the last one.
Yeah.
And a lot's happened in the meantime, and we've been to Tuscany, and we've had a fabulous time. And hey, with us in the studio, we got Krista Moore, and she's going to share some of her wonderful experiences with us. So, welcome to the show, Krista.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, it really was our experience. I believe that it was a shared experience. So I'm sure we're going to be giggling and sharing everything as a whole.
Remember this?
Oh yes, I have mine too.
Oh.
Well, for people who can't read it, it says Krista Caterpillar goes to Tuscany. And this was Cezarina's idea. So, Cezarina, would you like to say how we managed to get Krista to go to Tuscany?
Well, it was beyond magical, I think, because I had no idea what Krista was planning to do. I just downloaded. I just felt that I should write this story one Saturday night, way back, and I don't even know, this early spring, and when it was, and I just stayed up the whole night, and I could not go to bed till I typed up these whimsical, lines, and I just use clips and pictures and collages and whatever made me happy. And before I actually typed it up that same day or the day before, I knew it had to be Krista. It had to be the name Krista because to me, this whole idea of, I talked to Krista about it, this divine feminine energy, the goddess energy that she, that her work is all about, and she embodies, that I've known a little bit, but not to great length because I haven't spent much time with Krista face to face. I only had Skyped with Krista before, and we only had her as a radio guest a while back, and I knew her loveliness, but I didn't know about, the whole person. You get that when you're closer, and when you get to hug and you get to share deeply from heart to heart. And so anyway, I just stayed up that night, and I knew it was going to be Krista. And then I didn't have a name at all for a bee name for the butterfly, because it had to be a bee name for the butterfly. So I kept searching my memory bank, and I kept remembering this beautiful young woman who was a mentor of mine in Romania when I was growing up, and her name was Beatrice. And I thought, I really want this bee name to be Italian because we're going to Tuscany, and I'd like the butterfly to be an Italian name. Sure enough, I look up Beatrice, and it's something that it's common in the Italian baby name catalog or log. And I got really excited. I thought, Beatrice would work. And then I looked up, of course, Beatrice comes from Beatrix, which means victorious and joyful and expressing happiness. And of course, it made total sense that Beatrice was meant to be the name, and Krista was meant to be the name. And sure enough, I let a few days go by, and I'm so ecstatic because I've written this story, and I'm sharing it online. At the time, I didn't have a format, I didn't have a printed copy, and then something tells me my heart is bursting with joy, and I immediately, one day, a few days later, I write to Krista, and I said, hey, by the way, Krista, did you know there's a story for you? You inspired me.
Krista, did you know you're going to Tuscany?
You can feel my shock, right?
And I don't know. I think her reaction was, what is this? What is this? You hit me with something. I don't know what it is. And so we talked on. I think the next thing we did, we actually Skyped, and I shared with her what happened and how the story came. And then she was able to share with me, which she can share now, how all of that was happening probably about the same time where she was asking questions and she wanted to know where her next journey would be. So it was working. We're working on co-creating long before. She was calling this into being long before, we possibly knew that, so that's the beauty of looking back and seeing the energetics of the dance, because it's so invisible at times, and yet it becomes visible, and there's so many undercurrents here. So
I thought it was a fascinating exploration that we were doing together. It was like we were following a series of breadcrumbs. And for me, the most fascinating moment was going just before going into this chapel in Siena, and I think it was dedicated to Saint Beatrix. And I looked down, and on this mat in the corner, there was this logo of a caterpillar, and I thought, this is just crazy synchronistic. It's like we somehow knew that something amazing was happening, and the beauty of it was we were just following the footsteps of this journey and being astounded by what we were experiencing. So was it like that for you, Krista?
Absolutely. I was listening to Cezarina, and when she caught me so off guard, it was really, we had just come in Canada, and I think where you were too, Cezarina, because you had a bit of the ice and the winter, right? The really rough winter. And I believe there was an actual snowstorm happening around us when we spoke, which took the power out. And so
Yes.
I'm in the midst of like a very hibernating time, you know, in my life. And I was writing a lot of things that I'd already done and thinking of what would I do next. And I was just finishing, you know, spiritual director training. So I was like, I had no plan. I was very open, wide open, and very much like thrown back into my caterpillar, which was a bit of a shock because I thought, hey, I'm already a butterfly. What's going on, right? And like, I've already done all this. And yet I had to go back into the cocoon. And Cezarina sent me this thing on Facebook, and it was like this little teensy tiny icon. I could hardly read it. And I'm looking at it going, what is that? And I click on it and I'm reading it, but I'm in like, because I don't know what I'm going to read, right? I see this beautiful villa, right? These steps. I'm looking around at all the beautiful, like, oh, wow, look at this amazing thing. That's so pretty. Isn't that lovely? And I'm like, I wonder what this is all about. And then I look at this caterpillar at the bottom. I think, oh, isn't that cute? A caterpillar. And then I look above it and it goes, Krista Caterpillar goes to Tuscany. And I'm like, what? By Cezarina Trone. I'm like, oh my God. And so then I typed her back and said, wait a minute. You said you made a children's book and that you used my name. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. But then I saw the other part and I went, whoa. And so that excited all of my senses. And needless to say, I was hooked. And then I downloaded it and read it, and I was crying because I think she had tapped into my soul, and I believe that she really was inspired. She spoke to a deep part of me at that time that really needed to go somewhere else and be in a place that was very different and experience myself in a way that I hadn't before. And I didn't know what that looked like at the time. Read it, I thought that's exactly what it looks like, and that's exactly what I want it to be. And just, you know, very much like the dandelion, you know, you had the dandelion in a storybook where she makes a wish on the dandelion and it carries her to Tuscany on a wish, and the message of visioning and how your imagination can create. And I know that because I know I'm like you, I'm a very good manifester. If I really want to create something, it happens. But this was a co-creation and I was so blessed because it felt like this is more than just me. It's not just me. There's something else happening here, and it really made me feel like we had tapped into something a little more magical than just something I want. It was something we wanted to create and experience together. And so when you said that Santari, about being in Tuscany and being in Siena, it was very much like we never had an agenda. We always were on the tip of the next experience or discovery, which almost felt like something was teasing us, because it's like something knew more than we did. And it kept planting clues and teasing us, and we'd all come together and share our stories and, oh yeah, this happened to me, and then I received this clue or this piece of the puzzle. And really it was kind of bringing that story, that global story of us together and making sense out of it.
Well, one of the themes that we had for Tuscany was that it was a time for a new renaissance. That Florence was the birthplace of the old Renaissance, and something suggested that there was something of a rebirth that was going to happen, and we were the players to take part in, to instigate, and to move it along. And I remember being with you in Siena, and we just took ourselves off, the two of us, and I knew I was meant to be with you. It was like to point things out, to show you things that you might otherwise not see or experience. And again, going into that chapel dedicated to Saint Beatrix and sitting down on the bench and just looking at the paintings, it was a mystical experience, and also a very energetic experience. And I just looked at the painting, and as I looked at the painting became alive. It became alive to me, like I could feel the energy of it, and I could sense that something was coming through the painting. And that type of experience can't just be explained away as something that you imagine or fantasize. It's something that you interact with on another level than ordinarily you would. So I would say that we were really super aware of these occurrences that were happening to you, especially to the caterpillar, and the butterfly references, and to Beatrix. I mean, it was just a fascinating kaleidoscope of things that were there if you just chose to see them and to really participate in them. So that to me was the whole thing about Tuscany, that we were there for a purpose. And because we went there for a purpose, we experienced things that otherwise just wouldn't have showed up. So,
and I know that they would not have showed up if we hadn't been together, because really that is kind of like a shared connectivity, and it activates something. It did for me. For example, when we were in the chapel at the basement where the sanctuary was, and it was a very holy and sacred site. And at first I was just sitting very quietly. You know, I was just taking in the surroundings like everyone was. And Santari was sitting beside me. And he invited me to look at the painting that was above us. It was a huge mural of the saint, and there was a picture of Jesus, and there was other pictures. And it was a very beautiful painting. But he said, "Do you see anything?" And I had to close my eyes. And then I began to tap into the energetic of what he was feeling. And I began to, then suddenly visions came into my mind. And before I knew it, and I know Santari can witness this, I had felt an energetic in my hand, and something was placed in my hand in the vision. But when I came out of that sanctuary, I was still holding it in my hand. It was a gift. And it was very emotional for me, because I came out of there and I went up to the gift shop where we were just puttering around. And I wasn't expecting anything, because gift shops are full of trinkets, and I think, oh, it's so commercial and la la la, But when I saw Cezarina in there, and I went towards this name trolley, and I know that she had renamed me in the book Beatrice. And the funny thing is that at that time I was also reading a book around the idea of Mary Magdalene. And at the time there was a story in the medieval time about the 1100s where there was a queen of Tuscany whose name was actually Beatrice. And I was flabbergasted at the connections that were starting to tingle. I walked up to the name thing, and the first name that came at me was Beatrice. And I picked it up, and I felt a little tingle. And then I saw Cezarina. She was at the front of the gift shop, and she came toward me with this crest, which had one of the Tuscan villages and the caterpillar and a rose. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry, but we can't make this stuff up. was incredible because all week I had been infatuated with the roses, and I had really taken in the symbol of the rose and the crown. And I know that some of the experiences that we had, Santari, when we were in the lobby, really activated that part of me, and I was able to vision and experience things and receive symbols. And these were the symbols I received. And she came to me with these symbols from the sanctuary that we were just standing in, and I was still holding the rosary in my hand, the invisible rosary. And I'm like, okay, this is a mystical experience. And it just got better, because then we went to San Galgano. And Cezarina, I'm sure you could speak to that, because it was so beautiful, and you were one of the most beautiful parts of San Galgano. I wonder if you could remind us how amazing that was when we stood in the...
Just walking in this open sky, you know, no rooftop is just breathtaking. And for me, it was my second trip there. And this time was powerful because I had no expectations than to walk in, look at the light coming in, and be the magnificence of the place itself. And sure enough, I turned my, you know, Catherine is at one end of the abbey. You are one end, Santari's in one end, Adriana's the other end, and all of a sudden, all I hear is voices singing and toning to the sky. And then the next thing that made sense, and Catherine kind of waved at me to do it, I just literally walked and walked through the sounds from one end to the other, and one end like the snake coiling, and that's all I did. And I felt the energy, and I just walked with it. And we had some witnesses. We had a group of people who were just literally stunned. They didn't know what we're doing. They didn't, you know, really care to understand what we're doing. They just felt it, and it was just profound. And I'm sure Santari could explain some of the things that he was doing with his voice in that moment, because you know, all the voices are so powerful. Catherine on one end, you, Santari, Adriana, and here I was just gently singing along, but going into and sort of fusing all that, taking those threads, and it was just unbelievable. Just the embodiment of that energy there, it was unbelievable. This is all the journey. All our journey, we embodied something new anyway. So, really, maybe you can share, Santari, some of the alchemy with the sound that you have been sort of shared with us in Tuscany, because we have some videos of it. We have some, I actually have some recordings of it.
That particular instance you're talking about, I think it was like going back through time, back to, it was probably the 13th century, or a time when it was, then when the chapel was first built, and it seemed like it was a joyful time. I mean, many things had happened in that place to eventually come up to the when the bell tower crashed and the roof, basically that was it. But it felt like it was a joyful place, and it was to sing about the joy and to really be part of that creation. Because this world is a creation. This world is a creation. And we are creations too, and we exist here in a particular way. And it's not always that you get to see how this fabric of us and this reality it gets created, but somehow sound has a significant part to play in it. And it was to really feel the hum, the joy, the beauty of the place, and to celebrate everything, all the activities that are taking place there, and to feel that something was consecrated. It was like it was a place of consecration, and what we were doing was something of a consecration and a sanctification too. And it just all felt just right. Everything just fell together. We finished it, and just a few minutes later, everybody had to go anyway because they were closing the place down. They were closing it down for the day. I feel that also the other events that where sound played a part, such as with the making of the vortex essences where the petals were gathered, and we sung over them, and it was, you were just so grateful to be there and to be a part of this, and to be able to give of yourself to something which you knew was very special. And although we talked about Tuscany and built it up to be something which people had to be there for, it's not until we actually were there and started to really be together and decide that we wanted to do things together. We didn't want to split off into groups. We really were there for each other, and we were building something together. And that made Tuscany really come alive for me. And I'd never been there before, knowingly anyway.
I felt from the moment that I got off the bus, from Florence, my mother and I, forgot to mention my mother came with me, and that was a very special thing as well, because she'd never done anything like this before, even in a retreat setting, no retreat. So to do this and with all of you was quite profound. But the moment we got off the bus and saw the countryside and the villas and the hillsides and the vineyards and the olive trees, I just felt such a deep sense of peace that I never wanted to leave. It was so beautiful. We would open our window from this 16th century villa and look out in the morning, and all the birds, if you remember the sound of the birds every morning, and they would wake you up, but it was such a beautiful way to wake up. And everywhere you looked was just countryside. And there was a sense of home. I felt like I came home when I went to Tuscany. And it was like Santari said, like we went back in time, and we did sort of envelop all the times at once. And it's like we strung them all back together again and created a kind of unity of consciousness that anything that was broken got healed, got threaded back together again in our own identities, as well as in the places that, even the horses, if you remember, Catherine working with the horses, and I got to ride my beautiful horse, Pitch, and I got to go with Frankie was my second horse, but we went through the vineyards and then through this magical forest in the Chianti region. You can never replace that. It's magical, and I really felt like I was speaking to the soul of the place, and that it was speaking to me. So I'm deeply grateful about it.
You can read about these things happening to other people. It's very special when you actually go to a place and you have your own particular experience of it. And this wasn't just about having a holiday. This meant so much more. And I think it's something that you will for always cherish.
Yes.
Because we made it what it was, a very special moment in time. And as you said, it was like we gathered something together and made the world fresh and new and exciting. And Tuscany always will have that image, I guess, of rolling hills and sunflowers and the bird song from dawn to dusk, and the roses and all the things that we did. That for me will be a forever reminder of Tuscany.
And it was magical because it's something that we now bring with us and into our lives and the work that we do now. And I feel like it did gift me with a rebirth, and that since coming back, it took me a while to adjust to the pace of life here and the different demands, but I feel like different things are flowing through me now, and I have something in front of me that I'm moving towards, and I know that is now actually manifesting. So I'm really excited about what will come in the next few months, and with all of us hopefully being able to reunite again at some point, and continue to share what's unfolding within us and around us and with the people that we're working with and playing with.
Yeah.
So, Cezarina, any closing thoughts about Tuscany from you?
It is I can tell you that it's still unfolding in us. It's not done. It's
No.
I just posted a little video that Adriana sent me, and I'm so ever grateful for everyone sharing now, coming out and sharing some glimpses, because without those, I can still hold that power, but those glimpses stir up the remembrance. So I just posted it, and I watched us dance at the beginning of our cosmic ball for your birthday and for Mary and for Susan's birthday. So what an adventure, just each day in itself, and then culminating with that cosmic ball where we were just amazing each other with our presence. We are amazing each other with our presence in a way that we have not yet comprehended.
You especially, Cezarina, we're a magical goddess. I mean, oh my God, the vision. If you haven't seen the pictures, you have to see the pictures of Cezarina and Santari. Incredible. I was shocked. I was in awe. Yeah.
And everyone was holding this presence, and they showed up in that ball with this surreal, surreal sense of who they are. And they didn't have to speak. They just danced it. They just, celebrated it. And they knew they were full. I got back. I actually didn't come right back to US. I went to Romania. And it's today, I wanted to just make you aware. I just realized today is the exact day of our celebration, our 1 month. It's July 8th, so it's the exact to the day of the Cosmic Ball celebration.
Oh, wow.
And 30 days ago, and I watched this video of that, and I thought, this is just perfect that I opened it today, that it came in the email a few days ago, and I just now opened it. And it took me there. It was like you're talking about how everything speaks to you, Krista, about the experience. Well, it was wanting to be, again, relived and stir up the joy in whoever's going to watch it. And it was your giggle. It was your voice. I put that on Facebook. I said, there's a giggle. There's the dog. There's this. There's that. Everyone with their golden wings. They gifted me these golden wings. Jody, Catherine, Lisa, Suze, they have come with an extra pair of golden wings. And there I was with golden wings. I have not dreamt in my wildest dreams that I'll be wearing golden wings. And it was just perfect, Well, I'm looking at your smiles now, and I know everyone who's, all of our friends from Tuscany, the other magicians of Tuscany are going to be watching this. We love you all, and I wish you're all here with us in these 3 rooms, in 3 parts of the world, but you are with us. So we're holding you and in the circle again with this broadcast. It's like an extra little circle, and we will... Krista's right, we will reunite. We will probably have a conference call or some fun thing where we could all say hi to each other and just see what's going on after Tuscany, because there's a lot going on after Tuscany.
Yeah.
So,
it was a rebirth, so, when you're born, you have to now grow and do, right? So here we go. Here we go. Oh.
Okay, well that's it from us, I guess, from the US, from Canada, and from the UK.
Thank you both so much.
Thank
Such
you.
a joy. And I have more pictures and things to share with you soon. And I will.
Yes.
Still digesting.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Look forward to seeing them on Facebook.
Okay.
Yes.
Love you all.
Love
You
you
too.
all, and have a magical week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.